Hello and welcome back to Celebrating Communities. I'm Rose and I'm joined in the studio with Christina Schmid, who is the student president of Aberdeen University Student Association. Thank you very much, Christina. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming. So you are a student president with AUSA, that's correct?
Yeah, it is. We sometimes use the name Students' Union as well, just because it's more colloquial. But yeah, AUSA is fine as well.
AUSA, excellent. Yeah. So have you been involved with the union long?
Yeah, well, so I've been student president for about, has it been 20 months, about that time now? So my term is about to come to an end of June. So after this year's graduation, I'll sit on stage for that, do some speeches, but then that's me done with my term.
Oh wow, how are you feeling about that? Do you feel like you've accomplished what you've set out to do?
I mean, it was a bit bittersweet. I think, the higher education sector, it's a really difficult time at the moment with funding situation. There has to make, a lot of cuts had to be made. So it is really challenging. But on the other side, I think I'm really happy with what I've achieved. I've done a lot in terms of gender-based violence at the university and the Students' Union, spread a lot of awareness there, done a democracy review, so changed the kind of representational structure, and that's about to be implemented. So yeah, I've done a lot, but it is bittersweet as well.
Of course, yeah. I think that's the kind of case when anything kind of comes to an end that you've been really passionate about. But it's good that you've been able to achieve quite a bit there. So you mentioned there that you've done quite a lot on gender-based violence. Is that generally part of the student president's remit, or is that something that you've been particularly passionate about yourself?
Yeah, so generally it isn't part of my remit, because usually a student president does more overarching things like the democracy review, for example. But I've been really passionate kind of for years now in that area. I've done a lot also in kind of abortion and access to abortion back home in Germany. So coming into this position and then being able to do a lot of work against gender-based violence has been really, really good for me as well, and make a lot of progress on that too. So yeah,
excellent.
I kind of picked it up. Yeah.
Brilliant. And it's nice to see kind of local activism happening there, and it starting from a student union kind of level. I know you've been involved in a kind of wider campaign around that. How did you kind of get involved through the student union doing that? How did that kind of come to be?
I think the wider campaign came to be because we're all in the UK. Most of the students' unions, we have our WhatsApp group chats, and we kind of know what we can focus on. So I was just asked by someone else from another students' union, and be like, hey, I know you're really interested in gender-based violence. Do you want to join the campaign? Do you want to join supporting the petition as well, to push that? The petition against legislating misogyny, a hate crime.
Yeah, so the petition kind of covers, it's calling for the UK government to make misogyny a hate crime, asking for stricter laws around that, and online hate, that sort of online abuse, and calling for training and support for prosecutors, police, and also support for victims. Is that, can you tell us a little bit more about that, and why it might be such an important thing for an Aberdeen-based union to be involved in?
Yeah. I think, first of all, if we're talking about online abuse, that is nothing that's kind of based locally, or that's based in one single area. Everyone suffers from that, and even though it might not be directed at one person directly, everyone can read and go on social media and see these comments. Just before I came into here as well, I saw a compilation of just comments that were made under a women's football post, and it was all about get her back into the kitchen. And even though that might not have been directed towards me, if I'm reading that, it does something to me. It does something to everyone who's reading that. So it is about it's not locally on that side, but on the other side, the actual actions that follow from that, so the physical abuse, the physical violence, the hatred on the street, but also at home, that is something that is local, and that everyone can experience that, basically.
Absolutely. And I suppose it's all linked. If you think it's okay to be misogynistic, abusive, derogatory online, then that's eventually going to spill into your personal life as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of those spirals and those like escalations are happening as well. We can see that, especially when we're talking about domestic abuse. It doesn't start with physical abuse a lot of the time, but it starts with, economic abuse, psychological abuse, not allowing your partner to go out, and then after years and years, it might only happen to be physical abuse in the end. So I think it's also about spreading that awareness, and making sure people know what consists abuse and what is, gender-based abuse as well, and what is motivated by gender as well.
Absolutely. And is that something that you're seeing a lot of cropping up in Aberdeen in the northeast? Have you had to support students or anyone through the university in dealing with anything along those lines?
Yeah, I did. Obviously, I can't go into a lot of detail, but I think it is, and everyone that you speak with, I think, had faced something, maybe not even acknowledging that is abuse, or looking back at it like a couple of years ago. Like when I look back when I was 18, the things that I thought were normal, and then looking back at it, I was like, well, actually, that was not it. That was abuse.
Yeah.
And then, but no one told me at that time, because all my friends experienced that. All my friends experienced like gaslighting from their partners and all that. So like it wasn't anything that stood out to me.
Absolutely. And I think like through conversations, a lot of women again, as you say, don't necessarily realise that's something that they've experienced, or even in the moment they've kind of felt that something's not right, but they've just kind of had to go along with it to make sure that they get out of the situation unscathed, that sort of thing. So it is saddeningly a very common thing for women to experience.
Yeah, and I think coming back into like the northeast as well, you can see that especially in times where like economic dependency gets worse. So like in the likes of the cost of living crisis that we're experiencing at the moment, it's much more difficult to escape, because a lot of the time when women kind of give birth to children, they're the ones who are then economically dependent on the husband or the partner, and then that makes it more difficult to escape these situations. So there is that kind of link as well between economics and whether it's easy to get out, whether it's the cost of living is cheap, or we're in a crisis as we are at the moment. So there is that link in the northeast as well, as we can see with kind of the decline, the economic decline of it.
Absolutely. And so is that kind of what ultimately led you to taking part in this petition that's been launched? Yeah,
and I think, the local aspect certainly, but I think it has been such a huge topic in my life now leading up to it. So I was like, jumped right onto it. I was like, okay, this is really, really important, and this is such a key thing that can be changed seemingly quite easily, because it's only a petition, it's only signing it and maybe sharing it with a couple of your friends. The petition already has 50,000 signatures and needs 100,000 to go to Parliament, so it's not like it's far away. That it can get there, but there's already been so much work done. So I was like, yeah, that is actually something that can make a huge impact. Also, not only the kind of legislating misogyny, hate crime, but also the support for victims, the support, or also the training for police, because that's where a lot of the time, even if victims go to the police, they're not being supported enough, or they're feeling alone. I've been talking about the economic abuse or the economic codependency. If there's more funds for supporting victims, it's easier to escape these situations.
Absolutely. And it's not just one. You can't just ask for people to be prosecuted without the support in place as well. So that's brilliant. So as you say, there's about 50,000 signatures so far. You need 100,000 for it to be taken to Parliament. I know that there has been a government response after 10,000 signatures. The government always has to kind of give a bit of a response. How do you feel about the response? I believe there's been a discussion tabled. I think, I mean, it's a first step, I think. However, it obviously isn't enough. Yeah. Like a lot of the time it is that bit, the government has to respond. So as you'd expect it, if someone is obligated to respond, it doesn't go far enough. Absolutely. And so people can sign the petition by visiting petition.parliament.uk/petitions 746640. It's a bit of an awkward link, but I'm guessing they'll be able to find that through the student unions pages.
Yes, it's on my Linktree as well, and you can also just, if you go onto the Parliament homepage, just if you type in like legislate misogyny, it usually pops up. So it's not, you don't have to memorize, I don't know how many digits the number is, but it's you can just, even googling it and just be like petition legislate misogyny hate crime, it comes up as one of the first surges.
Excellent. And outside of signing the petition, which we want people to do, how can people even locally get involved in activism in this area?
I think, I mean, what I've done in the past as well was the Reclaim the Night March. So I think that is something that a lot of people support. We had, I think, about 100 people attending this year, which was a huge success from all backgrounds, a lot of allies as well, so all genders were there. So it was really great to see that kind of solidarity in supporting the cause. So I think that is something to get involved in. I mean, it's still a bit of time for the next one to happen, but even making sure to having that date in the calendar, just being aware, keeping your ears open and your eyes open about hearing that. But then as well on like a local level, or like even within friend groups, I mean, it is that bit about making people aware of the petition, and also making sure that people kind of know what abuse consists of. And even, I mean, it is something, because it's so culturally normalised, misogyny.
Absolutely.
Just calling people out for it, just being like, okay, if a friend does it, or if a friend does something that's vaguely in that direction, being like, are you even aware of what you're doing? And then on the other side, if a friend falls victim to it, making sure that they support it as well, making sure that they're aware of kind of the support they can access through the likes of rape crisis, domestic abuse support hotlines, and just being sure that everyone knows how they can get access, but also calling people out for it if they get to the side of perpetrators, which is easier as it seems like, because it's so normalized.
Absolutely. And you can see more and more, I think, like we were potentially getting to a point where it was not being as normalized, and then it just seems to have crept back into the forefront of the mainstream kind of.
Yeah, because it is, I mean, the internet has done a huge part to it. It's just like, so there's no like legislative function on the internet, it seems, and even if you report it there, people have handles, can report you back, block you, and I mean, especially on the likes of TikTok and Instagram, Meta just doesn't have it under control, it seems like.
Yeah, it's frightening. It's a very it's an increasingly scary place, the internet. Just in terms of, I'd like to ask you a little bit more about social activism and the importance of being involved in it. Why do you think it is so important for groups like student unions, young people who are accessing the internet, to educate themselves on social issues and get involved in campaigns such as this?
I think it is really important because students can actually change something that way. There's always that perception about, oh, nothing will happen anyways, I can't change anything. But then on the other side, kind of the opposite side. So I mean, the likes of the multimillionaires, the likes of the incels, they're already changing it day by day. So if there's no sort of resistance, there's no pushback from students, from people who are progressive, well, we're just going to go down a much worse trajectory. So that social activism is what can stop it and halt it. And also it is a really good feeling in terms of the community side, because it does feel daunting at times. I mean, the world at times at the moment I think feels really daunting. So finding community within that social activism can really be beneficial for kind of the own mental health as well.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And you mentioned Reclaim the Night there. We've been along to Reclaim the Night the last couple of years to film it, and even just going along to not necessarily, we weren't in the midst of the kind of march, but seeing it go by and like hearing the discussions as people were waiting to begin, and the speeches towards the end is it does feel really empowering, because sometimes you can be in your own bubble and kind of think that you might not necessarily be surrounded by people that have the same opinions as you, and it might feel quite isolating. But to get out and be part of a community, even on just a one-off day like that, or trying to like make connections through that, it is really
and I think coming on from that as well, there's the power in kind of that structural violence is actually like acknowledging and knowing that structural violence is what is. It's structural. It's not the blame of an individual, but there's social mechanisms behind it, there's a culture behind it, and it's not for the victim to blame themselves, but you can actually listen to everyone else and be like, okay, I'm actually not the issue is the wider society, the issue is the perpetrator and no one else. So there is that powerful message on that side as well.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much. That was so interesting to find out a bit more about. In terms of, so again, encourage people to sign the petition, and they can visit your social media pages and the union page for that. What are the details to that? How will they find it?
So my social media is AUSA Student President. That's as easy as it gets, and then the link in the bio will take you to it.
Brilliant. And for those who are maybe wanting to get a bit more involved in the student union, how can they do that? What do they need to do? Who can access it?
I think, you need to be a student at the University of Aberdeen, and then just reach out to me. That's the easiest bit. So follow me, send me a message, or comment on any of the posts, or send me an email as well, with the same AUSA president at abdn.ac.uk, and that's it. Pretty straightforward. Excellent.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Christina. That was really interesting. And if there's anything else at all that you want to mention, all good. Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming, and good luck with the end of your term and whatever you get up to next.
Right. Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.